All right. Good morning, Miss Verilyn,
Good morning.
and welcome.
Marilyn Porter from Florida Realty and Commercial. How are you?
I am good. It is Saturday, so we are together here on the seven C's of real estate, where we get real about all things real estate. And today, our topic is going to be on social media and essentially our struggles.
Yes.
And of course, we'll share our wins related to social media, the value of it, the purpose of it for a business standpoint, and really, I'm sure we'll talk about how we feel like it has somewhat changed or enhanced or driven portions of our business. So, why don't we take just a minute or two to introduce ourselves and then kick off today's discussion on social media?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, like I said, I'm Marilyn with Marilyn Porter out here in Florida with Florida Realty and Commercial. And I am out here in Space Coast area, but we are all over in Florida. We are not only just Brevard County, but we are found anywhere. So reach out to us. And we do everything residential, commercial, and property management. And we're always looking for new agents out here in Florida.
Fabulous. And I am Mandy St. Ange. I am with Monarch Movement Real Estate Group, brokered by EXP here in Collin County, essentially Frisco, North Texas. And yeah, so you can find us both. Let's not forget though, you can find us both on Instagram and Facebook, and we do this live every second and did I have that right?
Fourth.
Fourth, yeah. I don't know why I was having a brain fart.
Yep.
Second and fourth. I was getting ready to say my next number, and I was like, that doesn't seem like we would do it every week. second, second and fourth Saturday
Second and fourth Saturday
of the
of
month.
each month.
Yep, in our group. But if you're not following along on the live, you can also get this again on YouTube channels and then also on Instagram and our Facebook professional and personal profiles. So, as I mentioned before,
Yes.
our goal and our purpose is just to kind of get real about real estate, take away the whole industry competition ideas. Focus on collaboration, focus on conversations related to coordinating and how referral business with partners inside of the industry and outside of the industry, how that can help and influence your business. We also talk about the ideas of running a business and also having corporate jobs. We realize that getting in the industry and starting any kind of business is not easy. And so our goal is to essentially talk about those real topics and inspire and encourage others that may be out there that need a little bit of guidance to provide guidance, let them know that they're not alone. And at the end of the day, if people are looking for a helping hand, we are both two individuals who are eager to provide just that helping hands to others because we've been there before too. And we're still there. So I feel like as
Yes.
lifelong learners, both you and I are. We are not perfectionists by any means. And so it's
Mm-mm.
important to just realize that we're always learning just as others are too. And you can never have enough influence in your life to help you do that. So, with that said, today, we collaborated earlier this week, talked about what we wanted to kind of steer our conversation about today, and came up with the
Mm-hmm.
ideas that we wanted to talk a little bit about social media. Um, and I think although we talked about like the struggles, we want to talk about the struggles with social media. I think it's important to share our wins too, um,
Mm-hmm.
because although they may be in someone else's eyes who has tens of thousands or million followers out there, it may seem like a very minute win. At the end of the day, just as my previous statement mentioned, our goal is to inspire and influence others and to encourage them that no matter where you are in this process, a win is a win and take it and drive it. So I think we should make sure that we touch on both of those. But if you want to get us started, Veerlyn, any thoughts around today's topic and why it was kind of important to you?
Well, yeah, because definitely want to talk about the struggle with social media because I think it's important that we realize that engagement is in social media is part of our business, is branding. When we're out here, we want people to know who we are and what we do, right? So some people are just not used to posting to social media about about what they do, because it's, in a way, it's kind of like, I'm kind of in that borderline of privacy versus letting people know publicly what we do. And I think it's very important for our business. It really does boost our business. People are on social media all the time, more so than literally sitting at sitting in an office. They're just about the same. It's about the same. In a 15-minute break, you're on your phone going through social media. You're on a lunch break and you literally would take a 40-minute time just literally going through social media. People go through social media just to find homes or find a business or their favorite restaurant, or if they're traveling. So social media is a struggle for all of us because we're in this new stage and new era. And I just find the struggle of when and how to actually post. Those are the things I really do have a struggle with. I don't know about you, Mandy, because I see you doing things all the time on Instagram. Me, I'm kind of like here and there, and I need to get a little bit more better with it. There was a time when I was getting consistent, but it's like, media post right now. Like what times do I do this?
Yeah.
Morning time, early in the morning. You're doing like your little walking session. I was doing it when I was doing walking sessions in the morning. And then an afternoon post, right around the lunchtime, segment of the day. And then, do I really get a chance to do it in the evening, or late in the evening when I know that everybody's at home and, you're posting, to say who I am and what I do. So it's just the struggle of what to post and what time. So that's what I've been struggling with this week, is trying to get back on track of that.
Yeah.
That's why it means so much to me.
And I think, I think that's a fair statement. And, although you say, hey, Mandy, you're on there quite a bit, and you're posting all the time. Listen, there are a fair share of days where I'm just like, man, what is really all this for? I have those very same thoughts. What is all this for? Like, really,
Yeah.
I'm doing this for what purpose? Or there's times where I'm thinking to myself, like, gosh, I really am not an artificial person. And so I even then go down the rabbit hole of feeling like, am I, like, when I'm doing this, and or I try not to get into that trap that seeing other people, right, and feeling like, oh, look at that person's life, or look at that person. Like, I'm not really like that kind of a person. But there's times where I look and I'll say, like, gosh, it seems to such an artificial thing. Like, is that really happening? Is it really that good all the time? Or is that really necessary for us to know, right? Like, is it really necessary for us to know? Because if you really think about it, this is becoming social media by way of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of those things. I really truly do that its original purpose was just to connect people. It was designed to connect people or keep people in touch. I mean, let's date ourselves just a little bit, Veerlyn. I mean, we both had MySpace accounts, I'm sure, right? Like, that was the first idea. That was the first idea.
Let's not talk about MySpace. I used to have a nice MySpace page.
That's right. And the whole purpose of it, right? And or when your friend told you about it, or when somebody told you about it and why you had to get on there, right? When they were giving you the sales pitch of even why you had to join Facebook, your family or friends was telling you, oh, you need to get on Facebook because this is the best way for you to be able to keep in touch with me. This is how you'll know what I'm doing, if you decided to move away, right? Or this is what you'll
Mm-hmm.
see so you can keep in touch, or this is how you'll be able to see your friends in high school and, follow people, right? It was all about just staying connected, right? But as time has evolved, it really has become a connected to then a sounding board for people to be able to express who they are, to be able to express
Mm-hmm.
their thoughts and views, and it still is that way, to then another drastic part of advertising. And that's what I find
Yeah.
is so unique. And there are some brands some of the big brands, like we've talked about in our previous whatever, podcasts, YouTubes,
We're
we're doing
almost there.
it.
Yeah, yeah, we're just speaking it up. That's all it is.
I'm speaking it into existence because it's coming. But on,
Exactly.
on our previous chats, we've talked just about some of those big brands and how those big brands utilize it for launches and advertising and soliciting sales, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
why I say all of that is because that's where sometimes my mind goes is I feel like to myself, you know, I have this love-hate battle because I do want to get on social media and I do want people to know who I am. So as we've talked about in the past in a business sense, they can know, like, and trust me, right? If I'm
Yes.
attracting new consumers. Um, but I am
Mm-hmm.
also on there because I want my family or friends to see, what's going on. We have family out of the States
Exactly.
right now, and there's no way they can see what we're doing because of it being international, unless they're dialing into something like this. And vice versa. We can't see what they're doing unless we're dialing into what they're posting. So I go
Mm-hmm.
back and forth with the whole idea of how not to be artificial in me and be genuine in me. And then also making sure that I'm doing what I want to do by sending my business like message. And so I don't think you're alone in that struggle. And I think
Mm-hmm.
probably some of the folks that are on a way different level than you and I are even at, and maybe aspire, maybe we don't, um, would say that they probably have some of those same, and struggles as well. At what point? Maybe their struggles are a little different. Maybe their struggles are like, what do I do today? Right? I've done that. What
Right.
do I do today? Or how do I keep
Mm-hmm.
my 10,000 followers following me? Right? Um, we're on a different space. But I
Mm-hmm.
think we have to give ourselves some grace, and I think we have to find our balance. And as we've talked in the past about making sure that we're genuine, that we're purposeful, that we're
Mm-hmm.
staying true to us, I think from there we should be able to say it doesn't really matter what goes on there. If I love
Mm-hmm.
food and all I want to do is post food, and then I randomly want to tell somebody in the middle of it that I also sell houses, there should be nothing wrong with me doing that. Because maybe
Right.
I'm going to sell a house to a chef who really loves food too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. Yes. No, you're absolutely right. No, and that's my thing is I like I said, I think what it is just um and before when I was posting when I first started and I really got into it, like a whole year, almost a whole year, like that's about 6 months
Mm-hmm.
really of just straight posting. And I really was really sticking to it. Um, and my morning started off with my morning walk. It was my morning mindset, my morning meditation. And I shared that and I connected with a lot of people during that time because that is the time when you're trying to get your mind together for your day.
Mm-hmm.
And now, being that, and that was because I wasn't working corporate. I was just doing real estate. But now my life has changed, and there's a lot of other things going on right now. Like I should be posting things like becoming a parent who's about to have kids leave the house.
That's right.
Like that empty nest stage is
Yeah.
where I'm going. I'm kind of like that mid empty nest stage, and I shouldn't be sharing that. But then it's like, well, that's personal to me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
then,
Yes.
so it's like, so you don't like. I want to keep that fine, like it's a fine line of sharing and posting, to where it's. I don't always want to share the good things, but I don't want to share really bad things either, or things that I may be struggling with. I like to keep my social media positive. So that's where my mind is going, is to stay positive in every social post, whether it's about my business or about just things in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now I'm in this place because now I am working corporate, and because I am working corporate, I have to still be mindful of what I post.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? So that's another social media struggle for me, is if you are working a business and then you're doing your real estate on the side or your business on the side, you got corporate, you got your business, and it's like, well, what do I post to keep it where it doesn't cross any lines?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No. And you're right. And those are all very, very valid things. And I think those very same things. Um, I think that the finesse is truly, again, staying true to ourselves. What do we really want to know? But we need to remind people that not one of us is perfect, and not one of us is always spot on. It's like sometimes I make videos, and I made one this week even, and I thought, you know what, I could redo that and redo that and redo that, but I'm not. I stumbled over my words. I hesitated. I had a pause in between, and I thought, should I do that again? And then I thought, no, I
No.
shouldn't, because I'm being real, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not, for me, it's not about entertainment, right? Like a movie, because we all know that there
Mm-hmm.
are bloopers and there are reels at the end of every movie, and we love them. And sometimes we
Yes.
say, man, why did they get rid of that? That was so funny. Like they should have kept that in the movie. So for me, my reason for sharing that is I believe by still doing that, it allows people to know that I'm still human, that I'm human.
Right.
And my goal is not necessarily to be a sales individual all the time. That's not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good
Mm-hmm.
portion of me that is, because that's what I've done, all my life, but it's not necessarily all that I am. So I think that there is, to go back, there's a way to find a fine balance and still share some of that and still be true. I also think that, it's important that, although everyone out there says, have an 80-20 split, 80 personal, 20 about your business, otherwise people are going to disengage, it's like, well, but you know
Mm-hmm.
what? I don't remember the last time that McDonald's made it personal. I don't know the last time that Pepsi made it personal. They didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything in there about Pepsi as far as the personal owner, right? Of Pepsi, the
Right.
CEO. I just see what they're trying to sell us, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think
Mm-hmm.
I think we just have to approach social media in the way of, what is it that we want? What is our purpose? What is the mission,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And from there, find of your own devices. If your mission is to let people know that as a human being, you are one who is concerned on a daily basis about mindset, and you are concerned about mental health, and you are concerned about making sure that other people are doing that very same thing, and that you feel like by sharing that that's purposeful, and that's going to drive, and or that's going to be a way that you can kind of support your mission and share your gift, then it doesn't matter. In my mind, it doesn't matter if you share that or not. If you think it's important for
Mm-hmm.
people to know that you have a corporate business and you have your own entrepreneurship and business, then
Mm-hmm.
people should know that. If there's not anyone
Right.
out there that has another side hustle, I would be totally shocked out of my mind. Do you know what I mean? The day you
Yes.
decide to open your garage and participate in a garage sale, you have a side hustle. I don't care what you say. The day you decide to do, Facebook pickup or whatever the hey it is, I don't do it, so I don't know, but you know what I mean, the porch pickup thing on Facebook or whatever it is, you have another side
Mm-hmm.
hustle. You have another side hustle. And so in my
Yep.
mind, if you're sharing with people what you do because you're sharing how you're making a consistent living and weatherproofing your business and how you're
Mm-hmm.
helping your children to go on to college, or you're saving for a home, or you're saving for your retirement, like, give somebody the gift of the idea. They might think
Yeah.
right now that the only thing that they can do to do all of that is to date myself again, sell newspapers. You know what I mean? Like, give them the modern day examples of what to do, But stay true to you
Yeah.
and stay true to what your mission is. And then I think always, me personally, I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, I don't know that I want to say, like, don't jeopardize your stability. Um
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's more like, would you want, if you, by being a business owner, if you had a business too, would you want people doing that, right? Kind of like that old adage,
Mm-hmm.
like, if someone was not nice to you, would you want them, would you want to be not nice to them, or vice versa, right? Like, would you do that too?
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there has to just be a fine balance. I don't get involved in any political stuff at all. Never. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No, no, I don't either. That's one of the things. Like I will say, if you do any branding for your business, stay away from the politics. You know, you're that's like a really touchy already subject,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to. I don't want to spark any interest on that, so I never really post anything saying either or.
Yep.
Even when I'm in conversations, I don't even have, like, when you see those posts that come up and they include you, and it's like, what do you think? I never explain or show how I never state what I think,
Yep.
because I'm, at the end of the day, I'm in a business to help everyone.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what it is, and I'm here to service. And I want to give a 5-star service. So when I deal with 5-star service, I deal with people that I know that they want to work with me, despite of, you know what I mean? So I like to pick subjects or posts that will help to bring unity together.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So mindset is the best thing. You can never go wrong with doing mindset. So anybody who's dealing with branding of any kind, you can't go wrong with family, building on a family platform, or you can't go wrong with um, building on or posting with positive energy and meditation mindset, or yoga, or exercising, health, because those are things that we deal with every day. Our mental, our health, our physical, the types of food we eat,
Yep.
things like that, things that will help to bring a better you in this life. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
So even if you're dealing with Earth Day, like I really would like to start doing things like where you would have like that monthly, like today, like Monday will be Earth Day or some crazy thing like that, or Cinco de Mayo is getting ready to come up, so you're going to post about Cinco de Mayo, and little things like that. Mother's Day, those types of posts. But on a daily basis, like, where I'm struggling with is the fact of, am I getting up early enough to do these posts? and not running into my day before I go into my corporate job and do that type of, because a certain time of the day is shut down where I can't do any posts until later on at night.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get that established, along with just trying to do regular life.
And I think,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. A couple of things. Those are good statements. I think that, we've heard it before. Don't let that be the hurdle that stops you, or the door that stops you from doing what you really need to do for your brand and for your business, because you can spend all day long wondering how or what am I going to post and when, and and it just sometimes doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And because we're of a different generation, we are thinking about that a lot more, because this isn't just autopilot for us, right? For me, as you're saying, that whole personal thing, I just feel all shades of awkward sometimes when if I had something going on or an announcement to be made. Like, that's not the outlet that I would be going. I mean, Brian and I have had numerous conversations. When we were pregnant with Gavin, we specifically said we will not be posting it on social media, because we felt like if you want to know that, and you want to know that much about our life, you should be involved in it in a much different way, not in an artificial platform way of being, right? So I think what you're saying, there's two things there, right? You got to find that happy mix, find that happy balance, stay true to yourself, but then also don't get such in the weeds of all of that. I also would share a tip. If you are struggling with that and you do have that mindset and you just can't, get that groove, because all due respect, not to say that you're not creative, but there are minds that just don't think like that, right? So what I would say is there are slews of resources out there, slews of them. Canva is a great one just to use as a free example. You can get so many quotes, you can get so many just ideas from Canva that are already built, and then you slap your face on it and then you slap your logo on it, and boom, before you know, you've got a post about something, great quote for the day. Or, hey, don't forget this event is coming up. You know what I mean? So lots of stuff there for free in Canva. There are lots of great tools out there that have free and paid versions, like Planoly and Hootsuite. Those platforms are really great because they allow you to essentially pre-build some of your content, and then it just launches it for you. I get a lot of questions sometimes that say, like, hey, Mandy, are you posting all that stuff all day, every day for yourself? And the answer is most of the time, no. That's all stuff that I have pre-populated to post. And then if something silly happens in my life, the dogs are being silly, or, the kids we're doing something somewhere, then I throw in the mix of another, post or story or reel or something. I think that it's also good to get just like in a routine of like planning what is your overall message, right? Think like a larger brand, okay? And any larger brand, I think about my corporate brand that I work for. They have a rollout. They know exactly every season what the goal is that they want to portray to the market. They want to tell the market about work, rainwear, some of the new initiatives that we're doing and collabs that we're doing with different businesses and partners, right? And so each one of those things are built into silos throughout the season, and then the launches take place, right, in accordance to that. So the same thing. You may know, I always want to tell everybody about who I am, what I do, how I serve. Well, there's nothing wrong with that coming out every Monday at noon, right?
True.
Every
That's
Monday
true.
at noon.
That's true.
There's nothing wrong with that. I stick to the same 4 or 5 core ideas, and they come out, and anyone who follows me, maybe they get bored, but I don't know that everybody sees the same post every day, right? When you get on,
Mm-hmm.
when I get
Mm-hmm.
on, when someone else gets on, it's always different, and you're never going to know. Um, so treat it like those big brands. You will see a Coke commercial, and sometimes the same Coke commercial every time, right? You
Yeah.
are watching a
Yeah.
game, you're watching a game, whatever it is. Let's just say you're watching a TV show and you see the Coke commercial, and let's just keep it simple. It's the Bears at the holiday, right? You watch a show, you see the Bears at the holiday, then your show comes back on, and then before you know it, the next commercial, it's the Bears at the holiday, and you're thinking to yourself, I just saw that same commercial twice in the last 15 minutes. Like, yep, you are, because you might have gotten up and used the bathroom the 15 minutes before and didn't see it, right? And then the second time
Right.
you did. Does that make sense? So treat.
Yeah. So you're repurposing. So they repurpose the commercial, right? To just to reminder to say, hey, this is who I am. And exactly, you're right. And it's another thing too, because like you said, Canva has a really, really good idea of setting that up for you. I also know that Facebook, matter of fact, because I think you told me, or a Facebook page where if you create a Facebook page, you can do all these things and like set it up to, push out,
Yep.
like schedule it
Yep.
to push out on certain days of the week.
Yep.
That's really a good idea. Yep. I also have used, and this is what I was using in the past, and I'm finding myself trying to go back to using it again, is on Pinterest. Sometimes you can get really good content, like the next 30 days, content for the next 30 days for social media content ideas, things like that, of that nature, where it can tell you, hey, on this day, you can post something about, whatever, and then, your mindset, and then on Tuesday, it could be Tacky Tuesday, and then Wednesday could be Wisdom Wednesday, where you just provide a quote for some kind of, enlightenment for the week. Because you start off with a crazy Monday, you want to have something that kind of suit, break some things down from the craziness, where you can kind of balance yourself out on a Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday is just more just like, hey, whatever, like family or a big event or something. So I like that idea, because it's always allowing you to stay connected. And the whole point is to stay engaged. It's not just putting social media posts out there, but I do know that engagement is a plus too, because you want to have your audience engaged with who you are.
Right.
You can tell everybody what you do and who you are, but it's also the engagement. That's what I want to look for. And I don't know if you do those things, but like, what do you do to engage your audience with you on a weekly basis or even monthly?
Yeah. So I try to, and I don't necessarily put, like, I'm not firm to say like every day this specifically is an engagement, but I usually have some kind of tag or some kind of word or some type of question in whatever it is that I've built, right? Sometimes it's personal related and sometimes it's business related, right? I might post something related to what we're rolling out business wise, and then I might say, hey, how many of you get 80 plus hours of learning? How many of you have had a free certification? Something like that, right? With the pups, there's sometimes where I might say something like, hey, send me your favorite pup, video, or send me your favorite campground, right? Because we love to camp. So, it's, there's a reason, for doing some of those things. Sometimes it's just straight up, I'm looking for an answer, on something. We're broaching lately the ideas of homeschooling, and that's what we're going to be doing this fall. And so I've had a couple of posts that could be considered engaging posts, in a selfish way. Honestly, I wasn't really necessarily looking for anything other than an answer to a question. So I just put up there, I said, hey, what does anybody think about this curriculum? and see if we get an answer. You know, the bot always answers me to post it on, Women's Live and Go Good and DM this person to be in their in their bot group. you know and those people I want to write back and I want to say, I don't care about you, I really want to know what I should teach my son. I don't want to be in the woman's vibe
Yes.
only something something or other group. Like, you know what I mean? So, there is, so the reason why I say that, Verilyn, is because the whole engagement, the
Mm,
idea of engagement, is twofold. It really is sometimes a selfish thing. Like, I'm engaging truly because I want an answer, right? And
right.
then there are the engagement posts that truly you want to do because you just want to climb up the ladder of followers, recognition, people seeing you, right?
Hmm.
So there
Hmm.
is a fine balance to playing those algorithms. And again, I just say I think
True.
it all just comes down to staying true to you, and delivering the
Hmm.
content that, at the end of the day, is you. Because someone's going to look at that, especially, the people who know us best, and see something and think, man, what? I don't, that don't, and you can either say, I don't care if you're questioning that, or you can say,
Hmm.
thank you very much, because yes, that was awkward and I'll make a change. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. No, and I'm glad we talked about this. We'll probably talk about this again in other in other segments. Because it's something that I think we should constantly talk about because it is based off of consistency too.
Oh, yeah.
Social media, the struggle of, when and where, and even how consistent you need to be. It's important if you're trying to, engage with your followers, and on top of that, have them keep following. you know, that's the whole point, is like, what do you do? And those key factors we'll probably talk about. I like to have a segment where we can actually talk about the importance of a hashtag, or the importance
Yeah.
of, using keywords
Yep.
in your broadcast, so that when people look for you, they know to look by those keywords. When they pull up those keywords, they'll pull you up, because it is an algorithm.
Yep.
We just, I do know that's important.
Yep.
But I'm glad that we talked about it at least a little bit, because I think some people just don't know, how important it is to post on social media. Um,
Yeah.
I think
I
with
think,
COVID especially,
yeah, and I don't mean to
it's
cut you off.
important.
I was going to say, I think we could easily be spinning this concept for the next couple of weeks, actually. I could see us talking next week, like, just to your point, like, okay, what's the consistency factor, right? What are the hashtag
Yeah.
purposes? Should I be, as you stemmed a little bit on engagement, should I be using stories? Should I be using posts? Should I be using reels? Um, I think what we're talking about today is at that higher level, and I definitely think the idea of, over the next couple of segments, we should, let's just agree that that's what we're going to, talk about, is get more into the specifics of, related to the criteria, and essentially the wins, related to criteria. Um,
Hmm.
because I do think that's important, and I don't know that there are a lot of people that really realize that, because we're pushing some people, like you or I. This is not our generation necessarily to be living on, the social platforms as they are, but, um, it's not to say that we can't learn, right?
Right. Right.
So,
Exactly. Exactly. And so, I think that, we probably should start, we should create, we can create a segment, a couple segments where we
yeah.
can talk about the engagement, and then talk about the social tagging, like the
Yep.
keywords, the key, tags that we want to use, and the importance of it. And then, go into the fact of, times of days, and
Mhm.
why those times of days. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because people don't understand, that until they actually look, and they're like, oh, times of days do, mean something. Like post something early in the morning, because you have those people that are early in the morning. They're early birds. They're ready to do business, like starting the first thing in the morning. And then you've got the ones that, are thinking about going into business or thinking about, looking into houses or anything, just anything at lunchtime.
Mm-hmm.
Lunchtime is like a big thing because that's where you have your downtime from your day, from your morning, your crazy morning. And then you just want to just kind of like look into something else, another world, because that's what we need to look at social media as, another world. It is the virtual world, but at the same time, our lives and your life are just a big movie at the end of the day. And people want to just kind of step away from their own life to see what Mandy's doing or to see what Marilyn is doing.
Yep.
To see how their business is going, because they, it's not that they don't care, it's that they're like, okay, what is she doing today? Like, what funky thing is she going to do today?
Yeah.
Or what kind of Instagram message are you going to send today, Mandy?
It's so funny you say that, because we saw this Brian, well, both of ours, our buddy, I don't know where he finds the videos that he finds, but he finds them, and they're always hilarious, and they have us just in stitches. And it's funny you say that, because this video that he sent us this week, I thought to myself, this guy, it was so funny. It was so good. I thought, does he do this all the time? Like, gosh, that's got to be a lot of like pressure or a lot of work to do this all the time. And the answer is probably yes. I mean, I don't know. I didn't, how I saw the video, I wasn't able to directly follow the person, how it was shared with me. But I thought, man, if I can find this guy and this is all he does, amazing. Amazing. There are some true professionals out there, and it wasn't even business related. I don't even know what his goal was, other than he made me laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so,
no, that's exactly right. And you think about it, and we're gonna have to stop on that. But just thinking about it is, I ended up following this guy this week, matter of fact, because here in Florida, it's really hard to find a person who does hair.
Oh yeah.
For me, and I'm like, oh well, who can I go to? Because there's certain things that I want to do with my hair where I'm like, oh okay, because I'm a Black female and I'm in here in Florida and it's hot all the time. Sometimes I want to do something different to my hair, not just always put it in a ponytail. And I came across this guy who is not even here in Florida. However, he is in Georgia.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he
girl.
does hair, and he does all types of hair. And I'm like, oh. And go to find out, following him this week, he literally gets business from being on Instagram, or not Instagram, TikTok. He literally goes on TikTok, and all he does is he does his posts on a regular basis of cutting people's hair, doing wigs. He does short hair. He does long hair. He does all types of hair. And it's like, oh. And he gets his business because people will call and say, hey, I'm going to be in Georgia at this time of date. Can you book me in? He's like, yes. That's how he gets his business. So his business is not just migrated to just Georgia.
That's right.
He has business from all worlds, all types of counties and states because of what he posts. Because we're close by. So this lady says, I'm in South Carolina. I live in South Carolina. For my birthday weekend, I'm coming to Georgia and I want you to do my hair. And he does a live video of him, her getting her hair done. And she's like, I'm so excited. And he's like, I'm so excited too. And he's really, it's amazing because I'm like, that's the power of social media.
Yeah.
And of course he has his normal talks and gigs and stuff, but for the most part, that's how he gets his business. And it's amazing.
And I think that's
we can't push social media to the side. Do not sleep on social media.
No,
is what I'm saying.
No, and that's another thing we'll talk about too, is the power of leveraging that, and the partnerships that you can have with people to do just that, to drive your business and help with engagement and or to help with just who you are, right? Just the statement you said is uber powerful, and people will hear that today. But I bet if you started like reposting or resharing his videos and saying, I want to do this too. I want my birthday like this too. I bet people would say, oh, I can relate to her. Oh, Veralyn, I would want to do the same thing. Like, oh, I know. All I do is wear my hair in a ponytail too, right? Like, so that's that part that we go all the way back to the very beginning about being organic and being authentic.
Yes.
That is it.
Yes.
And you don't have to, I think the biggest thing too is whether you've made the video, the commercial, the whatever, the post once. There's nothing wrong with duplicating it again because not everyone's going to see it the first time. That's one. And two, there's
Sure.
nothing wrong with duplication of what other people are doing because at the end of the day, you're just respreading or sharing the mission or the purpose or the goal that somebody else put out there, right? If only one person
Yes.
sees it, it's not successful, right? So find your own way to duplicate, whether it's duplicating what you create or duplicating what others create. Stay genuine to yourself for sure and stay, as you say, consistent. Yep.
True.
Yep.
True.
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's start off. We're going to end this right here because this is a perfect ending spot right here, and we're going to definitely we're going to have to get together, collaborate.
Yes.
As one of our 7 C's, collaborate and start to actually, for the next couple segments, look at the importance of social media and how it can help your business. So let's definitely talk about that on the next side session.
That sounds
and
good.
that will be on the 14th of May, I believe. Is that the next time
Yeah,
that we're
gosh,
meeting
I can't
together?
even
Is the
believe.
14th
Yeah.
of May, I believe.
Yeah, I can't even believe the
Yep.
month is almost over. Gilly.
Yes, yes. So we are going to get together with that. But Mandy, where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, so you can. Yeah, as we're talking about social media, my jam is Instagram. So you can find me at mandy.stange on Instagram. And you can find me, Mandy St. Ange Realtor, on Facebook. And then I do have a YouTube channel, Mandy St. Ange Realtor, as well on YouTube. You can find me under Monarch Movement Real Estate Group. That is one of my hashtags. And so I am located here again in Frisco, Texas, Collin County, and serving North Texas for Monarch Movement Real Estate Group on behalf of EXP. And yeah, just looking hopefully to change the lives of others through real estate. Veralyn, how about you?
Well, not only can you find us here on 7C,
That's right.
the real
That's
estate,
right. That's right.
you can also find me on Instagram as well, Veralyn for the Buyers. That's where I am. Also, you can find me on FloridaRealtyandCommercial.com. We have a website, so you can find us there. Find me there. You just look for me under agents, and you'll see my face and my name, and you'll see my contact information. I'm pushing Florida Realty and Commercial LLC because that's who we are out here in Florida, brand new brokerage, and we are just an amazing group of people who work with property management, sellers, buyers, investors, commercial realty. So we do it all. Also, you can find me on Facebook. I have Veralyn Porter 5. So it's Veralyn.Porter5 on Facebook. That's the one that you find me on. Due to those hackers out there in Facebook world who are just taking advantage. But yeah, you can find me there, and that's about it. And of course, like I said, Veralyn for the Buyers. Can't miss me out. Don't come look for me. Come look for me. Come at me.
Well, we will be back again on the second Saturday of May, same time, same place, and I look forward to continuing this discussion, Veralyn, with you on social media and how to essentially win, not struggle, but win at social media.
There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, hold on.